full transparency, I never lied to the audience. I was just telling them how many times I've spoken to you over the course of my career, right?
Yeah.
When I was a young pup reporter and then at CNBC and now here at Forbes. So thank you so much for the time, Mr. Steve Stoute. I can talk to you for hours about the music business because you've been there, right?
Yeah.
Grew up in Queens and definitely talk about that. But let's start right now with SelectCon, because as we sit today, that event is coming up, your third. And SelectCon is you're playing off the UnitedMasters in translation. What is this event, right? And what is the mission?
Well, we started SelectCon during the pandemic because we wanted to give, people needed entertainment. People needed to be educational entertainment. We were open during that time, so artists could put out their music and actually make money when record companies were essentially closed.
Yeah.
Right, there was no record company to go to. And then we put on this event, SelectCon, and what we seen was an outburst of people who wanted information. They wanted young entrepreneurs who wanted to understand, how to navigate as being a young entrepreneur, or artists looking to come up. They wanted to get sort of educational tips on what to do at this point in their path of their career. And it was pulling in industry experts, people who's been successful, to share both sides of the story of what they went through in the beginning and, how they got to where they got to, and entrepreneurs and such. And it's been great. It's been very fulfilling. And you could see that it's made an impact on people. It's changed people's lives. So we're now in our third year doing it, in our third year doing it. And I'm looking forward to it because I'm interviewing Davido, young African artist, superstar. And
he made a Forbes cover.
Huh?
He was on the Forbes cover.
Yeah, he's superstar.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that. We got my boys, Rashad and from our Earn Your Leisure.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are definitely making impact. They're going to actually interview me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a lot for everybody to take away.
Yeah.
It's like giving the game away.
Yeah.
It's giving the game away because you want people to be able to take that information and do something with it. I'm
not surprised that you of all people found sponsors for it, right? In a time where ad dollars are being spent back, here you are. You do have some partners with it. Visa's.
Visa's a big partner. Ally has been with us for many years. They're a great partner. Diageo.
Yeah. Diageo. So that means it's going to be free liquor at the event.
Yeah, there should be some free spirits.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Diageo partner and Delta.
Yeah.
Delta Airlines is a new partner. Look, man, I've been doing advertising for 18, 19 years now. So having partners regardless of the climate, are you going to deliver? Do they believe in you? People run around all the time asking me that question about brands and sponsors, and I'm sitting there thinking, part of it is, man, do they believe that you're going to do what you say?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, a lot of times sponsors or brands will put up money and then they don't see the return on the investment. It's not done well. The execution's not well. They don't feel like they got something from that experience and the money they put out. Just my experience as being a leader of marketing, the leading marketing brand agency in America today, I develop a relationship with delivering.
Yeah.
So, this is not, money that's going in our pocket. We're not making money off of this. We're actually using it to put on a good event and teach people.
Yeah. You think it's going to be around 10 years, 5 years? I mean, sometimes the events, they get to a place and then they just stop growing. And then, what's the outlook for it?
I don't have an outlook like a 5 year. I don't see things in those increments, man. I always think that's a cliche question.
Yeah.
What are you going to be in 3 to 5 years? And I'm like, could you imagine had you answered that question 3 years ago, between cryptocurrency crashing and AI emerging and the changes that took place in the world, and you're going to sit there and tell me what you're going to be 3 to 5 years? I mean, obviously you want to grow.
Yeah.
Obviously you want to be relevant in that growth. And however the technology or shifts that take place, you're going to figure it out. So that's always the answer. The answer is not prescriptive because the world And change isn't prescriptive.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah. I don't think people need to introduce you, man. Every time I ask people, one of my preparation techniques is that I always go around asking people in the industry, hey, I got Steve Stoute coming. What's some of the things that I maybe should ask him?
Yeah,
right?
they said he already answered.
Hey, well, listen, you're out. Listen, man, you're on Drink Champs, right? You're on podcasts. I mean, Steve, you're out there, man. Everybody knows who you are, and if they don't, then it's still a surprise. Maybe you're the Clarence Avant, another version of it behind the scenes. But I think people know who you are. So take me back to somewhere, man. Right? You grew up in Queens. Yeah. I always hear that you say 1988 is the best year of hip hop for you, right?
Yeah.
But I want to know about that Steve Stoute before you dropped out of college. What did you want to do? What did you want to be, knowing that hip hop had influenced your life?
So I grew up. It's so funny. I was just talking to Jay-Z about this last week. We were talking about this idea of like when you come from a certain area. Like,
did he get my text?
I have no idea.
Of course not. I don't have his.
But like you go to an area like Silicon Valley,
yeah,
and then like because of the colleges, it breeds engineers.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of engineers in Silicon Valley, right? Talented engineers. I mean, now they're spread out, but it started like the engineers were in Silicon Valley. And we were talking about in Marcy Projects. There's a company called Shirt Kings. You wouldn't even know about this, but they were in the Coliseum Mall in Queens, and these guys were making custom shirts, and they were on fire. Everybody, you would save up money to go to Shirt Kings to get a shirt design with your name on it. You'd have to wait like 2 weeks for it, depending on where your street rank when you get the shirt. But all the rappers were there, and we're talking about 87, 88, around between 85 and 90, that zone. And the guy who started Shirt Kings, entrepreneur, grew up in Marcy Projects. So I'm like, you got Jay-Z, you got Nike from Shirt Kings, Nike, and Memphis Bleak. And Nike not only was like started Shirt Kings, he was also trying to get Jazz off of EMI. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about back then. EMI is a major label. And I'm like, look at three entrepreneurs from the same building at the same time. And I'm saying that to say in my neighborhood, within a 3-mile radius of where I grew up, is Russell Simmons, Run DMC, LL Cool J, Q-Tip, Ja Rule, 50 Cent. Like, all within the same proximity. I mean, literally within 3 miles. Irv Gotti, 3 miles. One of the other founders of FUBU, not Damon, but one of the other kids that was a founder, it was four of them, all grew up within the same neighborhood. Me, Irv Gotti, and the kid from FUBU was in the same kindergarten through 3rd grade. And there was something about that time period that you learned to hustle. You learned the values of what it meant to be great and do something and make something happen. And either you decided you were gonna sell drugs, and specifically in my neighborhood, nobody was really great at basketball. It wasn't like a basketball.
All right.
It wasn't a pool of basketball players. So it was really guys that was, doing street things or decided to take it and get into music. And or in Keith's case, Keith was from FUBU in fashion. And it was like me coming up during that time, I was always about doing something that was going to change the trajectory of my life.
Right.
And I tried to go to college. I thought that was going to be it. And it wasn't it. It wasn't fast enough. I needed the results immediately. And I knew that if you wanted the results immediately, you had to put forth an extraordinary effort. Like, I didn't think it was going to come fast without an effort that was extraordinary. For some reason, I knew that early. So when I dropped out of college, I knew that I had to go for it, whether it be 2 or 3 jobs or whatever it was. But I had to do something that was going to, sort of speed up the process of showing me and proving to myself that I could be more than just a guy who, came out of Queens and became a bank teller or some other, 9 to 5, to be honest with you. I had big ambitions.
Yeah. listen, you obviously said 3 to 5 years. Looking down that, obviously, is a cliche question, right? But look back on that moment. Anything you would have done differently about the college thing, Steve, you're rich now, right? I mean, you made your money, but at the same time, and it's hard to go back looking at where you are and say I would change anything. But when you look at that moment,
no, college just wasn't for me.
Yeah,
when I wrote The Tanning of America and I went on book tours, I was going on college campuses and my eyes are so big, like, man, going on to, University of Michigan campus or going to Duke University or going to Howard. And it was so beautiful, Georgetown, looking at the students, the environment. And I was like, man, I wish I did this, And my daughter just got into Columbia. I go up to the Columbia campus and I get emotional because my daughter's doing it. But it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I wish I can go to college now. You
can.
You can't. But I'm talking about really dedicating, go through the life because it is magical. Some of these campuses are beautiful, and it's a magical experience to learn and just be a sponge of so many different textures of people and life and values. But I don't think I would. No, I don't have any. Not even regrets. I never think about that specific period and go, oh, I would have done that differently. There's business decisions I would have done differently, but it's not anything about sort of the path that I went on, leaving, going into the music business, going into the real estate business, and then, ending up Kid and Play's road manager, and then,
well, let's start there, right? Because Kid and Play, obviously, we all love House Party. I love the original House Party. I still got it on DVD, and I still watch it on DVD. I'm old school. But you go and you're the road manager for Kid and Play, right? And then Jimmy Iovine hires you at Interscope, right?
It didn't go like that.
Well, the trajectory, right? But
that's like you saying you wrote a paragraph and then all of a sudden you became a journalist.
No. But Steve, you got to fast forward. Plus, everybody knows your story, and if they don't know, they could just go back and listen to the 3-hour podcast that you did with Noriega and Drink Champs, right? I mean, that was very.
By the way, that was very funny.
It was very funny. I went back and listened to it. I've listened to it in 2017 when you did it, and then I listened to it again. I was mad that I never heard you on Combat Jack though. I don't know why.
Because he's like Noriega. This is what we're talking about. Noriega, obviously, I've known him for a while because of Nas and the Trackmasters produced him. I've known him for a while, and there was a period of time we had like a little funky relationship, but he never was bitter. Like you ever notice, like he's not like a bitter rapper.
Yeah.
Like he understands the art form and he understands the behind the scenes. He has a great deal of respect for it. So it's very easy to talk to him. That's why people go on that show. It's very easy to talk to him about it. Combat Jack, I didn't even know who he was as Combat Jack. I know him as like a failed lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sitting there going like, you're just walking around shitting on people because you just found like that's a good new career for you to just take the little knowledge you have as a failed lawyer and just shit on people. So going on his show, I didn't even want to grace his show with any intelligence. I just wanted his show should just be what it is, a cesspool of hate.
But he had some great guests on that show. I mean,
that's
Chuck
awesome.
D went on that show. I mean, Eric B went
it's
just the history standpoint.
I don't care.
I know, but I'm just looking at you.
Hey, by the way, I'm Steve Stoute.
I know. Listen,
I don't care about all that.
That's why I'm saying. See, that's why I said I did not hear you on Combat Jack. Well, you have your reasons, but still, you was on Drink Champs and a whole bunch of other. Rap Radar was another good podcast.
Elliot's dope. Elliot's really dope.
Absolutely, real hip hop historians. People have been there. So again, you at Interscope, man, and then from there you go to Sony, and then you leave the music business. And now you're at this point now where you have UnitedMasters, right?
Yeah.
This is a direct consumer platform, right? You raised $70 million back in 2020.
Yeah.
And now you're at another 50 and another 50, and I'm looking at a 550 plus million valuation, or 500 million plus valuation that you reported. Is it still there? Because I understand some tech companies took a dive.
Not me.
Still up.
Yeah, I mean, when I raise money, it's very important for entrepreneurs to know when you raise money, you can run around and get inflated valuations because when you're coming out the gate and you're building something that's growing, people will give you valuations that are higher because they want to get in on the deal. They want to buy into your company, right? So they may go, oh no, it's worth that. And you as the entrepreneur, your ego gets involved because you're like, man, I have my company's worth $1 billion, right? And I've seen guys build companies, men and women build companies, get these high valuations, and then when they have to exit or raise another round, it becomes a down round, or they can't exit at that price, and it's an issue. So I always felt like while we were building the company, I wanted the valuation always to be what I felt was fair to the investor and fair for all the shareholders, including the employees of the company, by not inflating it or chasing some high valuation just to make myself feel good or to take a bunch of money off the table. Yeah. But it wasn't necessarily in line with the value of the company is at that moment. Yeah. And that's where we are. Yeah. So it was 550. And I think even with the changes in the market, we're in good shape because we're growing, and the market around independent music has gained much more traction than it was at the time we raised the money.
Before I ask you to take me back to Italy, right, where this concept was, continuing to be, born back then. How many employees, as we say here today?
350.
350 for UnitedMasters. And again,
it's with UnitedMasters. It consists of translation.
It's Translation Enterprises,
yeah,
correct?
It's UnitedMasters Inc.
Mm-hmm.
That's the holding company that has the parent company. It has two operating units: Translation, which does creative services,
right,
and UnitedMasters, the music distribution platform.
Right. Right. Now you referred to UnitedMasters as a record label in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right. Elaborate on that.
I think that software can replicate all the functions that are done at a record company. Now, I think record companies had functions then which required people to whether pay you in finance or marketing or A&R, those divisions of the company. And now, or legal, and others, promotion, et cetera. But I believe that most of those functions can now be replicated by software, like every other industry, where software replicates a lot of the functionality. And whether you submit your music through a portal, you don't need to give it to an A&R person. Marketing for most artists today are literally done through social media sites. That's where things get traction. That's where people get to know you and first hear the music, whether it be TikTok or Instagram. Those things have kind of replaced MTV. YouTube, they replaced MTV. And Spotify and Apple Music have, replaced radio for the most part. So digital technology and software has replicated a lot of the functions that used to be in record companies, and we've built an application that has software in it that provides that function for the artist.
Yeah. When you look at two things you said there before I again get you to Italy, Spotify, you have the streaming services. Is that market is that already set? Like you have the big players, you have the Apple streaming, you have the Spotify's, is that set, or will we see another player come into that?
What do you mean? I see what you're saying. The DSPs.
Right.
Well, there's just a lot of people don't know this. There's 120 of them around the world. Apple and Spotify are the two biggest. But like Amazon Music's growing pretty quickly. Yeah. Right? They're growing really fast. YouTube Music has grown tremendously. Leo Cohen's done a great job over there. So and then there's a bunch of others, in Germany, in China, in Tokyo, in Japan, in Africa. So you have different DSPs. So when you think about music as global as it is today, we have to service all of them. So when you say it's set, I would say, the big players are the big players, that they have to continue to innovate, or somebody else can come in and provide new functionality because things keep changing every 3 to 5 years.
Yeah. Speed, speed of fame and all that. You, again.
Oh, you really did your homework.
Oh, man, listen, man. First of all, man, I enjoy your history because, again, I've interviewed you for so many years, and I understand the impact you've had on music. Man, I never take Jay-Z sneakers, 50 Cent, ice cream sneakers, all of it, right? Yeah. And for people who don't know, this is a thing that I think fell through on that podcast. I think the Drink Champ was blessed. That you represented at one point the dude who did the Martin Lawrence theme song.
that's how I got my start.
Exactly, right? And so it's like,
this
man,
guy
when
named
you
Steve Kitt. He's Steve Kitt, man. Like that was it, man.
Yeah.
Well, see, Martin Lawrence. When I was working with Kid and Play in the beginning, when I was not the road manager, but I was the roadie, which is the person who supports the road manager.
Yeah. You make the calls, right?
You get maybe you make a call. You're definitely getting the coffee more than making the calls. But when during that period of time, Martin Lawrence, and I used to sleep on the couch too. He was a coming up comedian.
Yeah.
So I knew Martin Lawrence in the beginning of his career. So when Martin was making was making his sitcom, or got a chance to make the what do they call it, the first show, the it's like a demo show. What is it called? I can't believe I forget the name.
Pilot series.
A pilot.
Yeah.
When Martin was making his pilot for Martin, he wanted theme music, and literally, it was Kid's relationship with him, and I had my relationship with Kid and ultimately Martin that led to that opportunity. And Steve, a kid named Steve Kitt, a kid name, it's grown up now, he made the Martin Lawrence theme song. And I didn't even put my name on it. I just represented it. And I remember I used to watch the show every week, and I, say music by Steve Kitt. And that made me so proud. It made me proud, like it said my name. And I could have easily put my name on it with him.
Yeah.
He would have easily have done that. But I just I like representing greatness. I like being around great people. I like supporting great people. It's always been something that I've done my whole life, is be honest with artists and be able to develop a relationship with them where they know they can trust me.
Yeah.
That I would not tell them anything that was just to my gain. And that's why the relationship with, whether it be Nas or Jay or Beyonce or Usher or whoever, newer artists, Brent Fires, whatever it may be, there's a whole list of them. I mean, honestly. And, the respect level is there. The mutual respect level is I really understand how special they are. And I know that people can't replicate their talents. And the one thing that they need is to have people around them that are honest with them, because all that most of them have coming up are people who lie to them for gain.
Yeah.
And I'm not one of those type of dudes.
Yeah.
I've never been.
Yeah. Well, at the Google camp in Italy, you had around a whole bunch of people who are honest with you, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not like UnitedMasters, it was born there, right? This concept was in your head for years. But take me back to that moment when you're in Italy at that Google camp, when UnitedMasters was, I guess, kind of going through that development phase. What did you find out?
Well, when Jay-Z and Jimmy Iovine, who are both unbelievable great entrepreneurs, and I think the last two entrepreneurs that came out the record business, the record label in the business, when they started, which now is Apple Music and Tidal, I'm like, whatever those guys are about to do, that's where the business is going. That was clear to me. So I wanted to build an apparatus. I didn't know what it was, but an apparatus that would connect an artist from their living room or house directly to these streaming platforms. And I wanted to build CRM tools, which gave the artist the ability to know exactly who their fans were. Because my thought was like, if you stream a Kanye song, he should be able to say, let me sell you the Kanye sneaker. I just thought, like, if you stream his song enough, he should be able to know exactly who you are to sell you the sneaker. And I wanted to build something that not only streamed the act or allowed the act to upload their music, but then also get the intelligence so they can know who the person who streamed it was, so they could remarket to that person. It was very ambitious, okay? Mm-hmm. And I knew that I needed to be around people who knew how to do that. And that's what literally led me to Silicon Valley and the relationship with, Google Ventures and Ben Horowitz and all the other people who've supported me and helped me. And I as a hard worker, man, I would go to San Francisco, New York, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leave Wednesday evening on a 9 o'clock flight, So I'd work the full day. I'd go to San Francisco, get there at midnight, and Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, stay in San Francisco, meet engineers, meet people, basically be in the neighborhood. I had an apartment there, and people thought I lived there, and I did that for 7 years. And that's how I was able to even get into the community, to meet the investors, meet the engineers who are like producers to me. Like, great engineers are like great producers, man. They are very protective of their art and what they do and how they code and how they see the world. And you have to develop trust with them. You just can't go in there and just like, oh, I want to hire you. It doesn't work that way. You have to develop a relationship with them because they're mission oriented completely. The good ones are.
Yeah.
And it took that time and that work ethic, going to San Francisco and spending that time there for 7 years, to be able to hire best in class tech people, operation people, and we're, the offices in San Francisco today. We have offices in San Francisco, Culver City, Los Angeles, and in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. Now, let's stay here at UnitedMasters for a minute, man, because you're in this entrepreneurial state of mind, right? And what you just said was you spent 7 years coming up and developing and building relationships. But then we talk about the speed of fame, right? And with the speed of fame comes this, we're in this microwave society where people want it overnight, right? And though that is attainable, what you did, Steve, was you kind of like grinded and worked and built the relationships, right?
Yeah.
So in this speed of fame, how does one do that, which you did, grind, while at the same time not falling too behind and making sure that they're on that track of speed of fame, because everybody wants it again, right?
Yeah. You can't chase that kind of stuff. You have to build, I believe, a solid foundation, and there's going to be acts that they're going to be transactions, rather, that have speed applied to them. But the speed shouldn't define the foundation of your business. The foundation of your business needs to be solid, in my opinion. That's how I build a business. So the 7 years and all of that was really to build a foundational structure of relationships, talent, an understanding of the ecosystem. It was something I didn't know. I mean, I was going from, advertising and the music business into a completely new field, which was technical. And that's a whole new ballgame of people you need to meet, talent, how to talk to them, how to manage them, what kind of organization you need in order to exist in that, to building technology. And I didn't know that. So there was no speed to that. And I've watched many guys try to shortcut that and get cut short.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say we're in this microwave society now. Again, you at UnitedMasters, you had mentioned crawl, walk, run, right? And your ethos, delicate relationship between storytelling, culture, and tech, right? Mm-hmm. This platform allows you to identify superfans, right? But that crawl, walk, run phrase was really interesting. At what phase or what stage right now is UnitedMasters at? Are you out to crawl, walk, or
No, we're walking and about to run. We've learned a lot. We've had a lot of successes and failures. We've learned a lot from those failures. Whether it be as simple as a bad hire to a bad idea. And you learn in technology that, to like fire fast, or, when to pivot, or fail fast. These things are very important, because what you don't want to do is go deeper and deeper into a bad idea, because it may not have product market fit. It may not be what the customer wants. As much as you want it to work, it's not what they want. So therefore, it just doesn't work.
Right.
And you can fall in love with a bad idea, especially when it's yours. So, like, knowing that, learning that as a company, as a growing company, has been very important for us. And I think those learnings have informed where we are today, that we can go from walk to run. And the pressure's on, because I have high expectations. People have high expectations for me. I have investors that, they want a great return on their money. They deserve that. They believed in me. And the marketplace conditions are in our favor.
Okay. Yeah. Quick business recap before moving on, because I definitely want to get your perspective on music, the state of music overall, as well as hip hop in the 50th year. Definitely to get your take on that. But UnitedMasters, again, we sit here today, over 500 million valuation, you say. Is it profitable?
Yeah.
Profitable.
Yeah.
Biggest positive surprise?
No, well, let me just be very clear.
Yeah, back up.
Let me just back up a second. The overall enterprise is going to break even. The overall enterprise will break even. We've invested so much in technology.
How much did you invest?
100 million, 110, 110.
Yeah.
In that area, yeah, we've invested a lot of money in technology. Building products, building the back end, making sure artists, the transparency of payments, whether you're in Nigeria or Queens, New York, and your fan data and where you're streaming and how you're streaming and all of the tools that an artist would need to make better business decisions. We've invested a lot in that for us.
Right.
And therefore, as a result of that, over time, those investments have allowed us to be at a place where we break even.
Right.
That's why I'm saying we're going from walk to run, because we're going from breaking even now to great profitability.
Right.
Because that investment is behind us. We don't have to make that investment any further.
Looking at the business model overall, a rev share model is what UnitedMasters is on. Right?
Yeah.
You guys take percentages of the revenue that the artist brings in.
Yeah.
But they get to keep all of their masters.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Biggest positive surprise about UnitedMasters as you sit here as CEO that you found as you're ready to go from walk to run?
That it's the fastest growing segment of the music business was a big surprise. The amount of independent success that's coming out of Africa and South America was a big surprise. The adoption of being independent and owning your masters is now set. That's now the new normal. Mm-hmm. Artists want that. That's what they want. That is, and some of the things that even got to it, whether it was the Taylor Swift debacle about what happened to her, or the fact that people are selling their masters right now at these valuations, you can't sell it if you don't own it. And it's become popular, not the fact that these things are being sold and they're being transferred. So now there's an asset that when a lot of the artists that were coming up during my time, what was the asset was being famous.
Yeah.
The asset was being hot. Getting your video on MTV, hearing your song on the radio, that was the thing. Being able to get tours, make money, and provide a better life for yourself and your family, right? Now there's this thing there's an asset that you could actually sell. And everybody sees it now. So it's like, why would I give that asset away to a record company when I'm watching these things grow and turn into something? And
is it a new asset class, almost a way?
Absolutely, it's a new asset class. It's that's trading at 20 times multiple. Plus, this is real money. So as an artist, you can actually build a catalog, and that catalog is something you could hand down to your kids or sell it or do something creative or get a loan against it. You can do things with it. If you sell it to a record company, that's what they're going to do with it.
Right. So why don't you do it?
Yeah.
Biggest negative surprise as you get ready to run?
That it took long, that there's still artists holding out and taking a short-term bag. I thought that would be over now, for real. Over. A lot of the legacy acts, the older acts, the acts who've had tenure in the industry, they stay in the record business system because what they negotiate is they start giving them their masters back. Yeah. So for instance, I'm an act, I signed to a record company, I do 7 albums, I could leave. 5, 6 albums, whatever your deal is, you could leave.
It's like an NBA contract.
But then, well, no, it's not like an NBA contract.
But you do an amount of years, and then you
No,
opt out.
it's not years. its amount of albums, right?
Projects,
so
right,
the projects count.
Yeah.
So it could take you 10 years, 15 years. It
Well,
doesn't
that's
have
true.
to be.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, now you're about to go. You have one album left, one project left, whatever you call it left. And they say, wait a minute, we'll give you X amount of dollars and we'll revert album 1 and 2 to you over a period of time. So if you re-sign with us, the thing that you gave us when you were a kid, we'll give back to you. And you're like, damn, man, that album was one of my favorite joints. I'll own that in 5 years. Yep. And they give it back to you over time. So a lot of the legacy acts stay in the system because they're getting back what was already theirs. They gave away, they're getting it back. So they stay for that. And that whole dynamic is obviously fucked up. I mean, I just explained it. It sounds fucked up as I explained it. You gave up something that was yours and your idea and your thing, and then they funded it, but they own it forever. And then now for you to stay, they convince you to stay by giving it back to you. You're like, but you do it because you want it, because it's yours and you love it. That dynamic is tough. So the biggest thing that I have is like the amount of artists, how long it's taken for people to go, this is clearly not the idea. Clearly not the idea. I thought that would happen sooner. Now, it's happening now, and it's happening quickly now, but I just thought that would happen sooner. And there's gonna be a lot of capital in the space, and you're starting to see that now. I thought that would come sooner as well.
Yeah.
That people would see, the financial markets would see that this shift would happen sooner, but it's happening now.
Yeah. Think about all the knowledge you have, man, all that you've seen over all these decades. And again, we could talk for hours and an encyclopedia comes out of your head. As we sit here in 2023 today, what is the state of hip hop?
It's global music. It's affecting other genres of music. It's creating new genres of music. The culture attached to it is stronger than ever. I don't get caught up in this idea that hip hop is down 40% or, I just seen something the other day. How much is heavy metal down?
Yeah.
Like, does anyone even bring it up? Like, no disrespect to heavy metal, but it's like you want to make the headline, hip hop is down. Hip hop culture isn't. I'm measuring hip hop music much more than just a song. I measure the cultural impact of it all.
All right. Cultural capital.
Well, there's cultural capital, and there's impact that capital affects.
Right.
And when you got 16-year-old white girls twerking, like that's hip hop culture affecting dance. Hip hop culture dominates TikTok. Hip hop culture dominates fashion and streetwear.
Right.
You go to Paris, it's hip hop culture. So I don't listen to any of that. I don't let any stat like that come out and go, wait a minute, we haven't had a number one record this year, so therefore hip hop is down. Well, look, maybe there's a sound that hasn't evolved yet, right? And there's always this period, this lull in any art form in which, everybody got on the same vein and something has to come in. You
saw that after 88, right? You said it was
I seen it in 88. I remember when DMX came in, it was like, ruff, ruff, and it was like, what is that new thing? And then God bless, but Pop Smoke was about to do the same thing. It's a brand new sound. The Migos did it when they came in. It was a brand new sound. Like these things, sometimes there's just new sounds and new ideas that come to an art form that stimulates it.
Right.
And, hip hop is going through that right now. That's no big deal.
So it's in a good place.
Yeah, it's in a great place because the cultural impact is at an all-time high.
Absolutely. And it's bringing back financial return as we see, right? I mean, it's all there.
Yeah.
Couple more things, I'll let you get out of here, man. That the cultural impact we see today, you like it? I mean, I remember when you were at a lecture, you were talking about the Men in Black glasses.
I was never at a lecture.
Well, I'm sorry. You were giving a speech, at a venture capital.
Oh, I thought you said I was at a lecture.
No.
Electra Records. I'm
yes.
like,
No. You were talking about Men in Black glasses and Bad Boys
funny.
and just the things that culture help influence, right? Where we are today, what's the thing that you're seeing that culture is influencing? It was the
Consumer
glasses,
goods.
Deion Sanders glasses.
I mean, consumer goods like alcohol, like Skims, like every single consumer category, hip hop is touching.
Yeah.
Hip hop culture is impacting. It's now a vein that brands are using to tap into in order to get sales. It is affecting everything.
Yeah.
Everything. There's a Travis Scott meal at McDonald's. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's what it's affecting. Everything.
Yeah. Being one of the fathers that helped put that together, you must be proud.
When it's done right, yeah, I'm proud of it. When it's done right, when it's done well, I didn't do it clearly I didn't do it to I did it because I wanted it to be, I want everybody to have an opportunity to do it, to be able to work with brands and work with Fortune 500 companies. That was my mission when I started translation, to translate culture for Fortune 500 companies. And for the most part, it's done well. When it's done poorly, I'm upset about it because I don't like when the artist homogenizes the culture in order to fit in with the brand.
Yeah.
The brand needs you. You want to do business with the brand for sure, but they need you. So don't homogenize the thing that made you special in order to be in business with them.
Yeah.
When I see that, I have a problem with it. Outside of that, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Leadership stuff right now, man. As we look back on your career, what's the biggest thing that you've learned that you still use today from Jimmy Iovine?
It's something you brought up a little earlier about the speed of fame and microwave society, the microwave society. But he used to always say, stick to your knitting. And stick to your knitting was analogous with when you go to your grandmother's house and she would start knitting something and it'd be like this big. And you come back 4 months later and it's a full-blown duvet. And you're like, how did it get so huge, right? Like, how did time elapse so fast? And this thing became, and what she did was every day, she kept knitting. And that's what entrepreneurs have to do when they build their business. If you stop knitting and you start looking up, chasing all of the speed things that we was discussing, because you don't want to miss out on that thing or that thing, then all of a sudden you're not knitting anymore. You're looking, chasing. Stick to your knitting.
Yeah.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, that's what he did and when he was with Bruce Springsteen and he was in that studio, right? The Fine One's one of my favorite documentaries, right? That's dope.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. Jim Collins, he wrote a book, Good to Great. It's one of my favorite ones, and I know you always look at Good to Great because during your career, you mentioned how it became hard to identify greatness because we became in this speed of fame, right? It was so much, it's diluted now, right? What is the difference between a good artist and a great one?
Innovation, craft, detail. Innovation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you could borrow something from something that existed before and innovate upon that, right? So innovate doesn't mean it has to be a brand new idea you never heard. But innovation with craft, detail, taste. So you see the music video or the video, or the content, the live performance, no matter how big or small, it's tight within the framework of that thing. Even when it's small, it's done well.
Yeah.
It's not only going to be done well when there's a lot of money behind it and it's big. It's going to be done well at every single stage because that's craftsmanship, that's detail. Those are great artists. Yeah. And you see them, and you see them, if you look back on it, you see the whole thing. It's always been that.
Yeah. I keep you on the good to great question because I love how you kind of define it. The difference between a good entrepreneur and a great one.
A great entrepreneur is willing to make the tough decisions in tough times. Being an entrepreneur is absolutely going to have its ups and downs. I mean, that's a certainty, right? It's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, it's gonna go left, it's gonna go right. There's gonna be headwinds, there'll be tailwinds. And during the headwinds you got to make some really tough decisions. It may be firing a best friend. It may be letting go of an idea that you fell in love with. There's a lot that goes into the pain of building something from scratch, a brand new idea. And a good entrepreneur will tolerate that differently than a great entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm in service of the business. The business is in the middle, and we are of service to that business. It's not me. It's not you. I tell this to my executive team all the time. It's our contribution to that business. And that's how we're judged. It has nothing to do with anything other than that. We're a team. We're not a family.
Yeah.
Right? And we have to make, our team has to do whatever we have to do to make us win. If it's family, it's different. It's emotionally, the decisions are made through emotion. Like, well, no, not in a team. You can't throw 3 interceptions. You can't fumble the ball. You're out.
Yeah.
And that's a very tough thing to do. And just that line of thinking is tough when you're emotionally married to many things. When you're building a business, you're of service to the business. And I think great entrepreneurs understand that.
Yeah. I hope you can come back, man, because again, we have so much business to talk about. But I'll let you get out of here on this one. AI is disrupting things, and if you think that way, it's always been here, though, artificial intelligence in a way. But I had a very interesting phone call from a friend of mine, and we were talking. He says, I just wonder what the conversation is going to be when AI makes a song, and maybe it has a Drake voice, but it was an AI song. Does Drake go perform that song, and can he make money off that song? Like, whose song is it at that point, right? It's a lot of confusion going in there. But if you have an artist standing in front of your face right now, and he says, Mr. Stoute, can you tell me in one sentence what I'm supposed to do as I proceed with my career, knowing that I got artificial intelligence standing in front of me?
I can't say it in one sentence.
Okay, well in 2.
Okay, I'm not sure if it's 2 sentences. It's a lot to unpack because artificial intelligence today and artificial intelligence tomorrow are going to be it's just two different use cases.
Yeah.
Today, it's completely disruptive technology in some cases. And like most technology, you have to figure out how to get it to be of service to you, right? When the phonograph just first came out, the music industry was in uproar. It was going to disrupt the music business, or the VHS tape to the film business. Like, your instant reaction is panic because there's something new that's going to change.
Yeah.
Like streaming. And then you figure out how to use that utilize that new technology to be of service to the industry. AI, right now, when you have a song that can sound like The Weeknd and the Drake and become a hit for a second, or whatever it may be, what it's showing you is the power of this, technology. The artists over time will be able to use that technology in order to help assist them with doing things, maybe making the music that they make, or writing songs, or create the creative power of it to be used in service of the artist or in service of the industry. So there's of course copyright laws and intellectual property laws that it's just running amok of right now because, who owns what? It's like if you made Shrek, do you still have to pay Eddie Murphy $20 million if AI could replicate his voice? Mm-hmm. That's a question that you want to deal with. I'm sure they're dealing with that in the AFTRA SAG strike right now. How are you dealing with AI? because all of these things are very, very important. And the laws are going to, ring fence a lot of it. And then once the laws ring fence it, people, panic is over. Let's lean in.
And now innovate. Yeah.
And how do we make this thing work for us?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Steve Stoute, United Artists, founder, UnitedMasters. I keep saying United Artists. I don't know why.
United Artists is actually what inspired
Charlie Chaplin. Yeah, exactly.
That's what inspired it. So I don't mind being
well, I
kept
repeating it in my ear when I had the interview you said it on play. But UnitedMasters founder and CEO. Good luck.
Thank you.
At SelectCon, and good luck with the company, man. I
Thank you so much.
Back and when if you do a Series D, we'll definitely talk about it.
Thank you,
Appreciate
brother.
it. No problem.
All right, bye-bye.